Hello, lovely beings. Today we have another episode of the podcast, Human Light Bulbs podcast, where there's interesting, authentic people that sharing their unique view in the world and about what's happening and shining their light. And today we have Joel Hayes here from Operations 1009, and he is all about saving our children. And that's why, because it's really controversial topic as well, and that's why he is not here showing his face, because it can be very dangerous, and he wants to protect his family as well. So we totally respect that, but very happy that you still want to be here and sharing your information about what's happening. And maybe you can tell us a bit about you and what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. I really appreciate you having me here. And hello to your audience and everyone that's listening. God bless everyone for sharing all of their light, man. Everyone that's participating in this journey is the light of the world. You guys are what I understand as God. So thank you all, man, quite frankly. And yes, we were just speaking a moment ago, and to sum it all up, I was just a kid that was used in an abuse video when I was 12. Five grown men used toilet bowl plungers. They used a camera, the same camera they used when they would make us fight in the group homes. I was in foster care as CPS because my parents did a bunch of drugs. So this was keeping me safe from my parents. And well, I didn't talk about this stuff till I was 27. That was about 15 years after it happened. I turned out to be kind of a violent, angry kid because of it. But once I talked about it, that all changed. Once I talked about it, I realized the power that I had over myself. You know, when you're assaulted as a child, it's confusing. It's very confusing. And when you finally have clarity, you realize kind of that you have to speak up. You've got to be a voice for the rest of them. You got to stop this from happening to the rest of them. And along my journeys, I've learned and studied a lot of things, trying to figure out what exactly happened to me. Because these guys they kept their clothes on, and I don't know if they were staff members or what, but they were grown ups. Somebody had to let them into the group home, and well, years later, we were talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and well, it was ironic, that here in my town, we had a guy that was arrested that runs a whole church. Actually, it's big churches across the world. His name's Nassan Joaquin Garcia. And he was arrested with 3 women groomers like Ghislaine Maxwell's, except this was all a month before Jeffrey Epstein. So this really got me talking in my community, and I started talking about what happened to me, and we got really loud. And then Jeffrey went to jail, and then Ghislaine took her sentence. Jeffrey somehow broke his own hyoid bone, all those weird rabbit holes. And then it was June 24th, 2021. I remember waking up, and the reports were being sent to me that they had arrested an FBI agent named David Harris, and he was assaulting children in the same group home that they got to me. And for the first time since I had started talking, I felt vindicated. I felt like I was doing something, and I realized that all the talking was helping people around me. People were speaking up about stuff that had happened to them. Arrests were being made. It was amazing. It was incredible. Well, then 24 hours later, FBI agent Ali Sofan, who you can watch the documentary Turning Point 9/11 and see Ali Sofan. In fact, Ali Sofan, by the George Bush administration in the United States, said that he could have prevented 9/11 if he had access to all our private information 5 months before the towers fell. So then the Patriot Act was born, and we lost all our freedoms to privacy over here because of this guy, Ali Sofan. Well, this guy, Ali Sofan, 24 hours after they arrested FBI agent David Harris for assaulting kids, Ali Sofan puts out a report on me, associating me with QAnon because of what I'm talking about. Because I'm trying to tell people what happened to me, because I'm trying to tell people what's happening in the church, because I'm bringing awareness to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and all the people they're covering up. And it was ironic because I personally was not a big supporter of QAnon at that time. I saw QAnon people as people that are waiting for the military to come fix everything. And I do not think the government's going to save us from the government. I don't think the military-industrial complex is going to show up and save us from the military-industrial complex. And after finding out an FBI agent is raping kids, assaulting children where they assaulted me, is almost validation that the government's involved. And then the report by the FBI agent associated me with QAnon. So I started digging. I started digging into QAnon. I started trying to figure out what it was really about. And I found out that the people in the QAnon movement literally believe that the government is covering up for pedophile rings. Go figure, I was associated with them. Go figure. And they're valid. As soon as I started figuring this out, within the next 2 months, they arrested the chief of police, Dennis Perkins, and his wife, Cynthia Perkins, for running a pedophile ring out of that same group home system. There's only one foster care over there. There's only one group home system. They got boy homes for boys, but it's all one system. And they were running a pedophile ring out. This is the chief of police. And his wife was a teacher who was using his semen to put in cupcakes to feed the kids in her classroom. It's disgusting, but it's not done there. Then they arrested the state trooper of the year. State trooper in America is the police, like high-ranked police. State trooper of the year, in fact, in the year 2018, they arrested him shortly after them for assaulting kids in the group home and recording them and distributing the film, essentially making child pornography. And you realize that there is a real problem. We've got a real problem. And it comes down to the people in power. You know, it comes down to the people in power. And when we look at the power infrastructure that's set up around us, we're all victims to it. You know, slavery was never abolished. Slavery was expanded to include everyone. Do y'all call your government a government, or do you call it a parliament? Do you call your government? Do y'all call it government, or do y'all call it parliament?
They're in parliament. They're like, yeah, I think parliament.
See, I
when
don't
they're like talking together.
Origins of the word parliament, but in America, the word govern means control.
Yeah.
And ment, M-E-N-T, is of the mentality. It's of the mental. It's of the mind. The word government means control the mind. And in this country, they think that they think we're free here because we get to select presidents, because we get to go to polls and tell them we want to choose between these predetermined people. When you look at the Balfour Declaration of 1917, it goes back to the Rothschilds and those bloodlines. Well, Balfour Declaration in 1917 shows that America is just a corporation that belongs to the United Kingdom, to Great Britain, to them. We are their lapdogs. We're over here thinking that Obama and Trump are two different people. We think they're two different people because they have two different ideologies, but they both sit in Israel's lap. Obama was known as the biggest supporter Israel has ever had. Trump was known as the guy that's going to change Israel. He announced Jerusalem as the capital of the world. Israel started printing coins with Solomon's face on it and Trump's face on it, saying they were going to rebuild the temple. And then you look at who the Rothschilds are. Well, the Balfour Declaration in 1917 that I just told you about proves that the Rothschilds own Israel. You come to America and all the money that's printed over here is the Rothschilds' private money. We get little debt notes that say that we actually owe this. And every time one of them shuffles around, the Rothschilds makes profit on top of every transaction we do. We are their private corporation. And this is what we're up against.
Yeah, but this is also, this is like a lot of deep rabbit holes, but you're spitting a lot of truth here, and people are not even aware of certain things, and also about Israel and Rothschilds. That is coming out now on all platforms. It's coming out that the Rothschilds bought Israel from England, and that's going also around in lots of different platforms. And also about that we think we have the ability to choose, like with voting, but it's already predetermined. And they give us the idea that we can vote, but it's all from the same, that comes all from the same place, huh? And also with what you said, like government is govern the minds, mind control, and it's like it's one big system of mind control where we're living in, like the media, the televisions, like we only get the information from one source, and people believe that source.
Agreed. And that's the tough thing when you look back at the corporations that are owned all the way up to BlackRock and Vanguard, Rothschild money that funnels both sides of them. They both own the same equity in each other, so they essentially own each other, and they control 90% of the media that's available. 90% of the media that's available. And you realize after a while that you're in a show and it's on what, well, I'll introduce you to a movie director. How's about that? His name's Andrew Triglia. If I said his last name wrong, I love you, bro. But he made the movie called The Jones Plantation. And it's in theaters now. Everybody can check it out, Jones Plantation. And it shows they went through great lengths. They're independent film guys. They showed that we are living under a script. We are still living on a plantation, and we are used with what freedom is. You know, here in America, in this country, we think we own stuff. When the reality of it is we don't pay our taxes, they'll take it. In fact, in this country, all the police all have one mission, one job that they all do the same. Because, you know, in Oregon, on the left side of the country, you can do cocaine or on a countertop and they'll just let you do it. The cops won't even touch it. You come to Texas and you smoke a joint in public and they might tackle you to the ground. But what they do have in common is if you don't pay your taxes on your house, they'll come make you leave. And if you don't leave willingly, they will take your life and remove your dead body from that home because you don't own it. Because taxes that go to pay the debt that is owed to the U.S. Treasury, which is created by every dollar printed by the Rothschild. And it's crazy because the Rothschilds called out in trafficking rings. Are you familiar with Allison Mack? Allison Mack was the actress that got in the NXIVM cult.
The NXIVM cult, yeah. I also heard about that.
She was working with the Rothschilds. She was working with the Rothschilds in the Clinton administration when she went down. That's why she only got 4 years. She's walking around free right now because she called those people out. They're all tied. That's how the kids come involved in it. The kids are blood money. What's more powerful than money? Power. How do you have power over somebody? You manipulate them. You control them. You blackmail them. That's what Epstein did. That's what Epstein was all about. Those blackmail videos, getting you anywhere near his cameras, his island, he can control you. That's what I think I was using.
That's why they have all those people in their pockets, because they make blackmailing videos of them. They give them drugs, blackmail them, and that's why they have them all in the pockets. But it's also really crazy, like in America. I think in America even worse than in other countries where I come from, because in America people work 2 to 3 jobs, still work from paycheck to paycheck. They have, like, if you can't pay for your child alimony, they just put you in jail. In Holland, no one puts you in jail because you can't pay something. But what they did in Holland, is maybe you didn't hear that one yet. In Holland, they put people, they gave people like money from the tax, and then they said they gave them too much, and it's called the toeslagenaffaire. And just because people couldn't pay the taxes, they took their children out of their homes. They took thousands and thousands of children out of the homes from the parents. The parents never saw the children anymore. The government didn't give them any like visiting rights or anything. They don't even know where their children are. And now years later, and they don't even have one good explanation for the children. All the dossiers are not good. And now they're saying like apparently a lot of the children died. Yeah, we know why. But like, and no one in Holland thinks like this is strange. It's really, really like we need to find out that this is like on a big scale happening, and government is involved and everybody's involved.
That's incredible. No, I didn't know anything about what was going on in Holland. Thank you very much for sharing that information with me. I am going to start making a spill about that and getting people to talk. That's incredibly accurate. You know, the government, you just said that the government gave everybody a bunch of money, then said they gave them too much money, and then when they taxed them back and couldn't afford to give the money back, they took their kids from them with absolutely no rights, and the kids disappeared, and some are being proven up as dead. That is the sign of human trafficking on a global scale, right? That's what I was talking about with the Queen earlier, and the Queen of England, Elizabeth Windsor, and Pope Francis, and Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister at the time, and specifically how they were held accountable and held guilty for the 800 children's remains that they found in the septic tank in the Ireland schools. This is going on a global scale, and it needs to be addressed. And this is all new information. We're not talking about stuff that happened 100 years ago. We're talking about stuff right now.
Yeah, and you can research it online, and for everybody to know. Maybe not use Google, but then other search engines.
Yeah, no, well, here's what you can use Google for in America. In America, you can Google this. How many children go missing in America every year? Last year, 526,000 children under the age of 21 disappeared. Last year, 336,000 children under the age of 18 disappeared. The statistics show 3.6 to 9.8% of these children will never be heard from again. The reality of it is 16,000 to 52,000 children disappeared from this country last year and will never be heard from again. That is the size of an entire city. 16,000 to 50,000. I mean, we've got towns in Texas with just a couple hundred people in them. That's every year.
And that's on global scale. And that's on global scale and everywhere. And people don't like put the dots together that this is something that's happening on a really, really big scale. And also because they use those children also for like satanic ritual abuse. And there's also much more and more people, like a lot of victims are speaking out on that, also on all platforms. You can just find people that came out and talked about it, and there's so many. It's not a one-time thing. It's like globally, and it's happening everywhere, and those children become victims of it.
It is happening everywhere, and you're correct. You know, when you look into all of it, you see that the kids disappearing on a global scale, you've got to ask where are they going and why. And when you get into the realm of satanic ritual abuse, it gets dark. It gets really, 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 really dark, and it gets very difficult. I've done a lot of studying in the world of the ritual abuse, trying to understand what happened to me. And some of the things that I learned along the way are very, very uncomfortable for people to hear. And perhaps some of the things I'm about to say to your audience, even you, may be very uncomfortable. But if anybody feels the need to isolate me and to walk away from what I'm about to say because it's uncomfortable, I understand. But please know that I mean of no harm, and this is all information studied and learned to attempt to understand how and why this happened. So, in Satanism, as identified by Ephesians 6:12 in the King James Bible, is a set of principalities of wickedness, of darkness. Has nothing to do with Lucifer or the devil, and specifically identifies that Lucifer and the devil are separated from the ideology of Satanism. Because of Lucian Greaves is people with Lieutenant Michael Aquino, who created the Temple of Set with the United States military, or Anton LaVey, who wrote the Satanic Bible. Lucian Greaves is responsible for making the Satanic Church a legitimate church, equal to the Christian Church, as of the year 2019. So there's a real effort now to expand, quote unquote, Satanism to involve literally the misled, rejected people today. They literally are now abiding by what's called, and this is the face of it. I'm not talking to people, but the face of it now is 99% of the kids that just don't get along with the idea of Christianity, that that believe in atheistic ideology, meaning that they're Satanists, so they don't believe in a devil, they don't believe in a God. They're being taught that satanic ritual abuse is a myth and does not exist. So now when you approach the majority of the satanic temple, you've got people with this ideology in their mind. And their backlash is but the church stating, you know, the priests that are raping the children, which I was raped, I was assaulted. I don't like saying that word on these public things. I don't want to get you shut down, but I was assaulted in a Catholic run boys home. And trying to understand how these things happen, I started to understand the Bible more in a way through translation and learning it in different languages. And when you get back to people like the Rothschilds and you realize that their language is Latin, that's the language they speak. Well, King James, the guy that penned the Bible, also spoke Latin. He was responsible for penning the book on demonology just in 1589. So it was just 20 years before he put out the book King James Bible in the year 1611. This was also the same time they created the letter J, which didn't exist before the year 1589. It's the same time they created the name Jesus, because J didn't exist. This is when they began adopting the idea of this Yeshua that was spoken of in the Torah and wanted to create a new figure, but maintain the ideology that that's who they were. So people today, in my opinion, from my research, I'm understanding when they say Yeshua and Jesus are the same person. Jesus was created to keep slaves in mind. And the name comes as direct homage to Julius Caesar and Zeus. Spanish people still say Jesus today when they see Jesus. The face that was given to us of Jesus was a man named Caesar Borgia of the 15th century. He was a Roman emperor. There's a terrible man. The long-haired version of Jesus they give us is also direct sacrilege to the Bible in and of itself that says men are not to grow their hair long. So not only they contradict, but this is now that they give it. Now, if you take the Bible and you open it up to Revelations 22:16, and I invite anyone that has a Bible in front of them to open up to 22:16, and you'll see in Jesus' own words, he tells you that he is the bearer of light. He is the morning star. What he's telling you. This is the very end of the Bible. However, when you read that book in Latin, the same language that King James wrote it in, the same language that these Rothschilds speak, these bloodlines connect and how they communicate, Jesus now calls himself Lucifer. They become one and the same. And now you can begin to understand that in the MK Ultra manuals, which I'm sure you guys have talked about MK Ultra, the study of deprivation and torture and sex and sex abuse on children to break their minds, to control them, to turn them into whatever they want them to become. Well, it is taught within these communities, within these dark arenas, these Gnostic teachings, these Zionist principles, that if you can teach a man that Lucifer and Jesus are the same, while having him hang on to religion, you can have this man rape assault his own children. And if you can do this, you can perpetuate the cycle. And what you wind up with is you find out is in the Masonic community, and I'm referencing a man named Bill Schneblin, that's Schoenebellen, Schneblin, Bill Schneblin. I was an occultist turned Christian man that spoke very loud, thank God for an angel like him. But he made it very clear that in the Masonic community, the world of Masons, you have Masons where you're at, I have Masons where I am, that in order to teach Luciferianism, you must first be an ordained minister or a pastor of a Christian church. Before you're allowed to even get into Luciferianism and actually study in the occults, you have to first be able to teach Jesus on Sunday morning.
But there must be also a reason why there's so many priests
Yes.
are pedophiles, and also the higher ups there in the Vatican. The Vatican is just like total evil. But that's why it comes from there. And also when you're in the church, you have like, you eat the body of Christ and you drink his blood. That's a satanic ritual, no?
It's a satanic ritual, yes. Yeah. That in and of itself is said to you to be a parable. But that drinking blood, eating flesh is what we identify as a satanic ritual has now been readopted, like I was saying, by the satanic group. Now it separates themselves. That's devil worship. That is worship of Moloch. Eating and consuming of the flesh is all that goes back to Moloch, which is mentioned in Genesis in the book. And Moloch is the ruler of the lands. When you read John 14:30, God literally says that there's nothing left of him here, and he's leaving us to this. And that's what we're here for. But just like you said in the beginning, we are those beings of light. We are all the ones that bring the light to this table. That's Job 38:7. That's where you can find the truth in the book. See, and they know what they've done. They put the truth in these books. So like the words Cain and Abel, from the beginning, the original sin. Well, if you just say cannibal together, now we're talking like cannibalism's hidden in the book in and of itself. And now some of these things start to make a little more sense. You start to realize that words are spells. That's why they use them, right? That's why we call them spelling. That's why it's called government. We acknowledge it. We vote for it. It really means mind control. When you break it down, it's what we're up against. And to break through these paradigms is tough for a lot of people because religion holds a lot of people together. Voting holds a lot of people together. Schools, education, these things hold people together because, well, I don't know why.
But the schools is like an indoctrination, so it starts immediately, like, and also religions is to make for like so people obey, and schools also the indoctrination camps, so they like you don't think for yourself, but you also obey the teacher, and then later on as well. So a lot of people don't wake up from the mind control at all, and then like because we're like all in it, like people are like once you tell people the truth they think you're the one that's crazy. But there's also so many people believe in the Bible and Jesus and still think that Jesus is coming to go download it from a cloud. And that's like a lot of people, even in the truth movement, still believe that like they like really like. Of course, the Bible will have truth in it, but all of it, it's also coming from not the right source. Who like the people who wrote it. So that's what that people should already question that, I think.
Absolutely. All of it should be questioned. All of it should be questioned. We are living in an age where our history literally is his story, not ours. That's why they call it history. It's unfortunate that people are referred to as goyim and sheep, but it's done for a reason. One of the things we were talking about in the beginning was these bloodlines and how it kind of gets into, are they human? What might exist that might not be human, that might be intelligent or more intelligent than human? Aliens, reptiles, those crazy conversations. But let's take it into a realistic approach. In 2012, a little girl from Arkansas here in the United States did a project on the United States presidents using 23andMe, the DNA thing. And what she figured out was, and this made news, national news, that all of our presidents in America, in the United States, every single one of them, with the exception of Martin Van Buren, because he was brought in because of a death, all of our presidents are directly blood relatives of King John Lackland Pontagé of the 12th century, England, United Kingdom, where you guys are. All of our presidents are his cousin. All of them. With the exception of Obama. Obama not only is his cousin, but Obama's bloodline, ironically, tied all the way back to King Tutankhamun of Egypt. So we get to asking, all right, talk about that tie to Egypt. Let's talk about that tie to England. Let's talk about this. Because one thing that is understood is these Rothschilds that we've been speaking about have these elongated heads. They have these skulls that are not shaped like yours and mine. They're the origin of the caps, the little yarmulke caps that sit on top. That their origins of it, not the Hindu or where the baldest spots, but we can get deeper in that. We're not going to go there. But that's what they're using. And when you look at the King Tutankhamun ties, well, the Egyptians were known for having these elongated skulls. And then when you get close to the Zionist understanding of what they taught or what they teach, is that their blood is different from yours and mine. They teach themselves and the rest of us through that Bible that they are the chosen people, and we are Goyim. We are considered cattle, human livestock. That's what they call us. And I'm not saying that the Jews call us this, however, they're taught to do this. Because today, you know, Jews and Christians will walk side by side in faith with each other, which is amazing. But the reality of it, when you get back to it, Jewish church, you get caught saying the word Jesus Christ anywhere near, boy, you get ostracized. That wasn't even allowed. And there was a time where the Jewish people weren't allowed to talk about Christianity. So this idea that Jesus is a Jew and they're, you know, all the Christians just say, hey, they're God's chosen people, just going along with a book that was written by a bunch of people that allegedly killed a man that said to worship God and then gave us a cross to bear his image, which is the equivalent of, well, here, wear an electric chamber on your chest, or, you know, tattoo this electric chair, this gas chamber on your arm. You know, like, it's sick. It's sick what's happening. And even right now, I've seen so many people revolt and resort to that same mentality of under 9/11 that, oh, just blow up the Middle East. Just blow up the Middle East, take them all away, you'll fix everything. And people now, I'm still even saying it, you know, just blow up everything going on in Palestine and Gaza. You've got Israel threatening to drop a nuke on Gaza, which that would hurt themselves. That doesn't even make any sense. They've surrounded Gaza and Palestine. They would hurt themselves.
But I think now people see the absurdity of it, just like a terror, like even if you think it's like a terrorist attack, and then you like because of that you have like you can just blow up a whole country and innocent people, and only now I think people see like, hey, they did it already with 9/11. When they did it, they also just bombed like whole countries, and now like people thinking like, oh, that's a bit strange, no, like this is like unproportional. And then also when you know about false flags and the MO, then you also know they're all part of the same group, and it's like they're all like, it's all psyops, and it's all paid by the CIA, all like the Hamas, the ISIS, and it's also, I saw one meme that was also crazy. You see from both sides, you see like bombs going up, and then it says one side is paid by the American taxpayers and the other side is paid by the American taxpayers. And people 100%. Still...
That's great. Well, that's a great point to point out as well. And I posted this morning. I posted up a coin. Original Palestinian coin of 1927. One thing people are not paying attention to is that Gaza, Palestine, Iran, these are some of the last places on earth that the Rothschilds do not print or control their money or have any influence in their governments, which are called kingdoms, right? The reality of it is Israel is the kingdom of the Rothschilds, and we've got that kingdom taking on the kingdom of the Palestinian people in Gaza, which when you go all the way back to the openly Zionist family, which ties in the Luciferian doctrine like we just spoke of, they want Palestine, which if you look biblically, Palestine is Bethlehem. Bethlehem is where Yeshua was born, or Jesus, however you want to call it. Why would an openly Zionist Luciferian family want the place that Yeshua was born in? Why are they willing to kill for it? Well, it also comes down to control over money. Power. It's one of the last infrastructures on the planet that's fighting these people. Your money's printed by the Rothschilds. My money's printed by the Rothschilds. Their money is not.
And what and that's why they also, but that's why they also bombed those countries, because they were they didn't have Rothschild banks. Also after 9/11, all those countries. And they really target those countries, but also they lied about why they bombed all those countries. So it's like Like they want to control them so much that they rather bomb them and lie about it. Yeah, so, but I also want to say, like, there's a difference between Jews and Zionists and the Khazarian mafia, because like everyday Jews, they don't even like they're not everybody is like it's the same, and a lot of like Jews now also a lot of like Israeli people are like sharing also like, hey, it's the government, it's not us. And also I know a lot of Israeli people that were like fighting against the government for years already, that had to leave Israel because they made it really difficult for people to stand up for their rights, to stand up for Palestinian rights. And also in Israel, they were protesting against the government already for a long time. And that's now they also, now they have, with what's happening, they have more, they have like more, like they have more control again, to be like bad for their own people. And that is also what's happening. A lot of Israeli also now again protesting. So I really hope that all this, this all comes out now.
I pray that it comes out too, and I pray that enough of us continue to, well, do what you're doing right here, do what I'm doing. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just being as loud as I can.
Me too, everywhere.
You know what I mean? Real though, that's what it takes. You know, we speaking costs nothing, and not speaking, it could cost us everything. You know, like we're at a pivotal point, and it seems that most people are too busy with the bread and circus. You know, so the ones that are willing to speak up have a duty. It's not just, you know, it's not for entertainment by any stretch of the means. It's a duty. We have a responsibility to share our light and to shine it so bright that other people that don't even know they're in the dark can find their way out.
Yes,
That's
and I
what we
get
have.
goosebumps everywhere. Because it's like we have, once you know, you can't unknow, and once you know, you have to teach it and you have to share it. And I hope people connect the dots with all what we said, what we're saying. Like really, people connect all of the dots, and it really dawns on people. And also because, like you said, like the bread and circus, people are so distracted by sports and all religion, and also what's happening with the celebrities. People are like, but also because they make people poor, so people are just busy with can I have enough food on the table, so people are just so much busy with surviving, and that's why they don't have extra like energy to research all of this, to understand all of this, to talk about this. And that's what they do. The system is made, let people be like slaves, not knowing that they're slaves, because then they don't wake up.
Then we've got to inspire them, because you're right. You know, growing up as a kid, I've said that growing up on survival is different than growing up on love. Kids that grow up on survival respond a lot differently than kids grow up on love. And kids that grow up on love generally are caught up in the rat race, just like you're talking about. But kids that grow up on survival have to do more, because they have to survive and they've got to do the rat race. And then once you're doing the rat race and you remember what it took to survive just to get to the rat race, you realize it's time to stand up and let everybody know we're all rats in a maze. And people don't like that. You know, I go back to the Jones Plantation. Again, I recommend it. I call him Samuel. He's the one that's figured it all out, and he's trying to tell everybody what's going on. And at the end of the movie, the slaves his own people are whipping him for speaking up. So
I saw the trailer from it. That first they were slaves, and then someone comes and give him some information, and then you're like saying to the slaves like, "Oh, you're not slaves anymore." But then he makes the same as what the workers are now. Like they pay, like they work a lot and they get not much paid, and then they think they're free, but they're still enslaved. So this is a really, like, I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this is really waking people up, this movie. And it's also, they cloned Tyrone. That's also a cool one where they also wake people up. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
no,
saw that one.
it's a great one. What was the name of the one you just said?
They cloned Tyrone.
I don't think I've seen that. I
Yeah,
don't
that
really
is
watch
also a good
movies.
one.
I got to sit down with these guys and actually watch it with the director and some of the
Mm.
actors, and it was a really
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
opportunity. The CEO of my company, toe dropping, his name's Mark. He was like, I've been following these guys. They have a premiere in Dallas. Let's go. And we drove 4 hours to go watch a movie. And he
Wow.
knows I'm an anti-movie guy, and I don't like liars. And it was different to get. I mean, they were literally sitting right behind me. I didn't realize that at first, but the whole thing was just, it was a God moment. And if I have it my way, I'll connect you with Andrew directly. You'll watch that movie. You'll bring him on here because you guys are ready for it. You and your audience are definitely ready for the reality of what is the Jones Plantation, because we all live on the Jones Plantation, man. Slavery was not ended. It's expanded to include us all.
So it's now time to like acknowledge that. And that is also like the truth will set you free. So first the truth will piss you off, but it really sets you free because then you understand what's really happening in this world. And now I'm glad that we're not the only ones anymore. Like there's millions and millions and millions of people now waking up and seeing it for what it is and breaking free from the mind control, breaking free from the programming, from the television. And that is happening. So that is what is now happening, the Great Awakening.
And that's the thing, my buddy Mosh Gelton, the MoshGeltonShow.com, #1 podcast radio station, Tampa Bay, the one that got me on there talking about the Rothschilds, tough topic. He's a proud Jew. He was raised Jewish. That's the beauty in it. Just like you're saying, people are waking up. They really are. And when people like us, them, and when we come together, we can do this. In fact, that's a great point. I'll say Operation 1009. I call it Operation 1009. The 1 means us. The 9 means them. 00 is infinity. It literally means Operation We Are One. That's the whole point of this thing. And when we come together and shine our light together, nobody can stop the beacon that reaches out for everyone. That's in everyone. Amen. God bless.
Wow.
Just saying. I
really,
feel good right now.
Yeah,
I'm a
very
little
good.
amped up. Forgive me.
This is really good. But there's like yeah, I think it's a good to wrap it up like this. I think we can could talk for hours and even more deeper rabbit holes and other things coming. But I think this is really already like a lot of information for people to really grasp what's happening. And yeah, if people have any questions, yeah, people can contact me. And because like I'm really here to awake people to what is happening, and I'm not crazy, and that's why I talk with a lot of people that have like similar ideas, and they also have a lot of research. And with you really like you really are very knowledgeable. So I was really happy to hear all of what you had to say. And thank you very, very much for coming here.
God bless you. I appreciate being here. Thank you for being here. And everybody listening, man, thank y'all for being here. Y'all are the real heroes out there. Just keep shining. Just keep shining.
Yes. And I will put the recording off. So bye-bye, everybody.
God bless.
Thank you.